Yo, what's good? It's Ram of the East. Today I'm going to be talking about what it means to be a member of God's kingdom. And I'm actually going to start off by reading off a parable. It's from Matthew chapter 20. But one thing I found interesting is like the way God works, right? So I was currently in a situation where, I was like, okay, if I'm doing a lot of work in the kingdom, but someone's not doing as much work, how come I see them getting blessed more than me? And I said that's our human nature, that's our flesh, right? That's how the enemy deceives us. But Jesus actually gives a great parable, and I'm gonna read it off. And it's in, like I said, Matthew chapter 20, but it's called Laborers in the Vineyard. So it says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And he went out about the third hour, and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. Again he went out about the sixth and ninth hour, and did likewise. And about the 11th hour he went out, and found others standing idle. And saith unto them, Why stand ye here all day, and idle? They say unto him, Because no man hath hired us. He said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that ye shall receive. So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard saith unto his steward, Call the laborers, and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. And when they came that were hired, about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. But when the first came, they supposed that they would have received more, and they likewise received every man a penny. And when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, These last have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden in the heat of the day. And he answered one of them, and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong. Dost not thou agree with me for a penny? Take that thine is, and go thy way. I will give unto this last even as unto thee. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with my own? Is thine eye evil because I am good? So the last shall be first, and the first last. Many be called, but few chosen." So I'm gonna leave that up because I know that was kind of a lot to read, but basically to break that down was, there's a guy. So it's like a workplace, right? And they all agree to 1 penny pay, but within the same day, the first hour of the day, 5 people were hired. The next hour of the day, 3 people were hired, all the way up until the 12th hour when the workday stopped. So some people were only working for an hour, some people were working for the 12. But when it's time for them to get their pay for the day, they all receive 1 penny, right? And the people who have been working from the beginning, they're like, how are we equal to them? We sat out in the heat, we sat out in the sun, we worked here longer, like we should get paid more. And like Jesus says, that represents the kingdom. The house represents the kingdom. So what does it mean to serve in the kingdom, right? And to break this parable down is we're all worth the same price, right? And before we come into Christ, and before we come into the kingdom and start doing work for the kingdom, he tells us we're all worth the same price, which was his life. He died on the cross for our sins, so that's the price. We're all worth the same amount, which was his life, his sacrifice. And he then says to him, he's like, I did you no wrong. You knew what you were worth whenever we came in. We had an agreement, but the thing that really stands out is that when the worker that's been working there for a while says, we've been bearing the heat, we've been doing these things, right? That sometimes represents, at least me, right? And some of us as Christians, like, we've been walking obedient. We've been doing work for the kingdom a lot longer. But then we see someone else come into the kingdom, way after us, but they're getting blessed. They got a new house. They got they get married. They find their wife, and then we come up and we're like, we're kind of feeling entitled, which that's how the devil deceives. He wants us to feel entitlement. Like, I've been doing this so much longer than this person. Like, why aren't I getting these things? Why aren't I worth more? So that's really how the enemy lies and deceives us, right? So whenever we're in the kingdom and we're doing work for the kingdom, we got to remember, like, we were already, like, we know what we're worth. Christ's life. We're worth his life. He died for us. So anything outside of that, he doesn't, he doesn't promise us. He doesn't promise you, a mansion. He doesn't promise you'll get this job position. What he promised you is what you're worth. So I said a lot of times, you got to remember, he describes it as a house. A lot of times, we're in this house, we're in the kingdom, and the devil is on the outside, right? So those laborers that were working in the field, like, imagine you're out there like hitting rocks in the heat, and then outside the fence of the house, you just hear the devil saying, "Man, you're worth so much more than this. Like, you should be getting paid so much more for what you're doing. You should be exalted. You should be getting all these gifts." He's just whispering from outside the gate. Actually the devil yells. He's just yelling. He's like, "Man, you ain't getting paid enough. Like, he ain't paying you enough, bro. Leave this kingdom." That's what the devil does. He sits outside the house, outside the kingdom, and he tries to get us to feel entitled. So whenever we're reminded of our worth, which is Jesus died for us, we forget that. We're like, yo, where's the pay? Where's the gifts? Where's the rewards of me doing all this? It's really easy for us to, forget what we're worth already, but also we're not doing it for the pay because we agreed and we knew what it was when we came in. And I think to get deeper into it is knowing the true reward, because just like Jesus says at the end, he says in verse 16, "So the last be the first and the first the last. For many be called, but few chosen." So we got to know our reward, is being chosen, because before you're into the kingdom, before you're born again, at least me, life was terrible. And life is still hard when you come into Christ. You're still going to have your trials and tribulations, and you're suffering because Christ suffered, and we're to suffer as he did. That's in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 21. But, knowing the true reward is being chosen. You're not out here outside the house, outside the kingdom, being deceived, chasing your flesh, lusting of the eyes, prideful in your achievements and things, right? But we got to remember, there's still ways the enemy tries to get to us when we're in the kingdom, right? So the true reward is being chosen, being picked up from the street and brought into the house. So a lot of times I said, and the way we should look at it really is say we're on a football team, okay? I mean, this is the best team in the world, whatever. This is a worldly thing, but, when you're in the kingdom, we're in the house, being grateful that you're chosen, because it doesn't matter if you're on that team, if you're a starter. So say that they're all getting paid the same amount, right? Say they're all getting paid, this football team, they're all getting paid $6 million a year, right? I know that's nothing to what they really get, but no matter, despite if you're a starter, a backup, or a third string, everyone's getting $6 million, right? It's just like the kingdom of God. We all worth the same. So the devil tries to come in and make it seem like if you're a third string at the time, it's like, oh, you should be starting, or you should be starting. And you're like, no, I know what I'm worth. I know I was worth Christ's life. So the true piece is knowing the reward is being chosen, because despite being a starter, a backup, a third string, you're in the house, you're in the kingdom. That's the greatest gift. So like I said, the enemy wants to throw these tactics on the outside. And one thing I think is cool is that later on in that chapter, so it's still Matthew chapter 20, but later on in that chapter, Christ says a really great verse, and it says this. It's verse 26. It says, "But it shall not be so among you, but whoever so will be great among you, let him be your minister, and whoever so will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many." So often think of it like this. If you're that worker that's been working since the start, and you're in the house, you're in the kingdom for a while, you're going to know how the house and the kingdom works a lot more than the new worker, right? If you're in, so you're going to know tactics of the enemy. You're going to know, you're going to have more wisdom. You're going to have more discernment. You're going to have more knowledge. So Christ even says, if you're in the house and you're a starter, right, you've been there for a while, minister, right? So when the new people come in, show them, tell them about the kingdom, tell them how to, seek hidden treasure in that house in the kingdom, right? Show them how to use their gifts and their tools in the house in the kingdom, so even Christ says, don't look at it as, entitlement. Don't fall to the devil's lies, but, really focusing on the fact that, okay, I've been here for a while, I've been in the kingdom for a while. I got wisdom, I got knowledge, I got discernment. Let me give back to the new workers. Let me guide them so they cannot be deceived by the devil on the outside of the fence, saying all these things, all these slurs, trying to make them feel entitled. So like I said, even Christ says that, if he makes you great in the house, which means like able to do many things, use it to minister to a lot of people in the house, in the kingdom, in the house. If he makes you a chief, which is a leader, right, use it to be a servant in that house, to go to pull up on those new people in the kingdom and take the time to preach to them and to serve them and to put together, Bible studies for them, so like when you're in the kingdom, that's the greatest gift. You're chosen. And I'm gonna leave it with one more thing, is even Christ says this, and this is earlier in Matthew, this is Matthew chapter 6, but verse 19 through 20, it says, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust corrupt, and where thieves do not break in and steal. So when you're in the kingdom for a while, and you're being molded by the system, the kingdom, and you've been made great, and you've been made a chief, right? Use those to store up treasures in heaven, not to look for the earthly gifts, because like I said, like that's how entitlement comes in. Oh, I deserve more pay. I deserve a bigger house. I deserve more money. Right, those are all earthly things, You never say U-Haul behind a hearse, So Christ is saying, store your treasures in heaven. Those acts of good deeds. When you get to the kingdom, there's rewards for you in the kingdom. Don't focus on the earthly things. It's what the devil wants you to focus on. So, like I said, just stay sharp out here. The devil, he really wants to deceive. He wants to take away what we have, but he can't. So just don't entertain him. Like I said, remember, the reward, the gift is being chosen. And the price we're all worth was Jesus' life. So I love y'all and God bless, and I'll see y'all soon.